3 full stop, and landing 13 left if that's available.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Palm Springs altimeters 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, you're requesting straight in for 13.
If that's available, please.
Remember, correction, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance, plus 4658 is type PC tunnel slam call, request clearance to Vegas S-File.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon, unable to give you S-File, and I'll be full route standby. Plus 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas Airport via Flight Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs, Victor 370 to 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso, join the Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000, expect flight level 2405 minutes after departure, departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Plus 4658 is cleared to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3. Initially climb 7,000, expect cruiser FT5, departure 1267, squawk 6316 plus 465.
Plus 4658, read back is correct. Tango India Mike, taxi to the ramp via Echo and frequency.
Taxiing to the ramp via Echo, remaining on this frequency, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike.
Ontario Tower, Cessna 237 Charlie Alpha, approximately 4 miles to the west, inbound to land.
Number 237 Charlie Alpha, roger, inner left, traffic, left downwind runway 26 left, report base.
Enter left downwind for 26 left and record your base 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower, United 242 on the visual for 20 right, we'll be turning for a right base shortly.
United 242 John Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170.3.
Clear to land, 20 right, United 242.
Papa Tower, King Ever 208 Kilo, ILS 4.
Here 520 Yankee Kilo, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 11.
Good man.
Number 237 Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land, 7 Charlie Alpha.
Palm Springs ramp plus 4658 east ramp with weather going for taxi.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs ground, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Trail right via Echo Bravo 465.
Riverside Tower, good morning, November 2903 Alpha with you on the ILS.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, good afternoon. Runway 9 clear low approach, report miss.
November 2903 Alpha, clear low approach, runway 9, next report is
Palm Springs Tower plus 4658 ready to go trail right at Bravo.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs Tower, runway 31 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, trail right plus 465.
Papa Tower, King Ever 208 Kilo, Kilo, 4.
Here's our Yankee Kilo, roger, taxi into the ramp via Alpha.
Via Alpha to
Plus 4658, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure 465.
Cessna 7 Charlie Alpha is clearly active, taxi to the GA parking base.
We're 7 Charlie Alpha, remain on this frequency, taxi into the south ramp via Sierra.
South ramp via Sierra with you, 7 Charlie Alpha, thanks.
November 2903 Alpha going around.
Number 03 Alpha, confirm going around or going missed?
November 2903 Alpha going missing.
Number 03 Alpha, roger, execute the published missed approach procedure.
Flying the published missed approach procedure, November 2903.
Piper 2903 Alpha, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure, 03 Alpha.
Number 03 Alpha, departure frequency will be 135.4.
135.4 for departure, November 2903 Alpha.
Ontario Tower, November 516 Delta Mike, inbound ILS 26 left.
Or 516 Delta Mike, Ontario Tower. Good afternoon, Ontario. Wind is calm. Runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land, 6 Delta Mike. Ontario Tower, November 36. Correction, 516 Delta Mike, clear of the active at uniform, taxiing to the south apron.
Number 6 Delta Mike, roger, taxi in the south ramp via Sierra. Remain on this frequency.
Via Sierra on this frequency, 6 Delta Mike.
Riverside Tower, good evening. November 290 Alpha is busy on the middle coast on the 7 position is left hand down and on expect.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, runway 27, clear to land.
Clear to land on line 27, 03 Alpha. Riverside Ground, November 2903 Alpha, in Alpha request taxi to the transient partner.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside ground. In the future, don't switch to the ground frequency unless you're told to do so. You should stay with tower, exiting the runway all the way to the hold short point. Stay on this frequency for now, taxi into the ramp via Alpha.
Taxi to ramp via Alpha, Rocket, November 2903 Alpha.
Generally clear. Generally clearance. November 6th. Charlie Mike Cherokee. I would like to attempt the I-4 rating today.
Cherry 76 Charlie Mike Jolly clearance. Good evening. Good luck on the I-4 destination. Will be, let's go, Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo.
That's Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo. 6 Charlie Mike.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
I'm going to sign off and collect some information for this destination. I'll sign back in. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Just report when you're back with the I-4. And how long do you think it'll be? It's not going to be more than an hour, is it?
No. I have to file and get some charts and plates.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'll still be here, so it shouldn't be a problem. And we'll look for your flight plan to come through. I'll get your clearance up.
Las Vegas Tower, Pilatus 4658 is unusual one on the right, 4500.
Plus 4658 Las Vegas Tower, runway 19 right, clear to land, wind 1807.
Clear to land, 19 right, 4658.
Plus 658 exit right, taxi into the ramp via hotel, remain on this frequency today.
Exit right, right via hotel, right frequency, 58 468.
Beach ground, number 953 Whiskey Alpha's Piper Comanche PH4/Whiskey Alpha. Taxi be active, VFR east departure with weather.
Calling Long Beach ground, need you to just verify your call sign, please.
Sorry about that. 916 Whiskey Alpha, November 916 Whiskey Alpha.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach ground, roger. And just confirm VFR eastbound.
Eastbound and the east ramp just south of runway 25.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, roger, runway 26 right, taxi via Kilo.
Okay, 25 right via Kilo, 916 Whiskey Alpha. Long Beach Tower, November 916 Whiskey Alpha, holding short of 25 right Kilo, ready for departure via Parking East.
Number 916 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach Tower, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff, right downwind departure approved.
Clear for takeoff 25 right, right downwind departure 6 Whiskey Alpha.
Good day, Palm Springs, ground scanning Hotel Tango, East Ramp, India, close traffic, runway 31 right.
Papa Hotel Tango, do you mind? Palm Springs ground, say again, aircraft type.
For a Cessna scan.
Skyline Tango, do you mind? Thank you, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Echo and Bravo, 31 right. Papa Hotel Tango.
We're 791 Juliet, Torrance ground left clear.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet, we see there's no clearance delivery with this field, so would we get our departure instructions with tower or with ground?
Always go with the lowest, so we'll start with ground, just say your intentions.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet, type Cessna 172 on the south hangars with the numbers requesting VFR advisories to John.
Number 791 Juliet, roger, departure frequency 134.9er, squawk 2061.
1249 is 2061, squawk 791 Juliet.
Got 901 Juliet, read back is correct, are you ready to taxi now?
In a couple of minutes, just gotta go around to the side. Okay, Sky 791 Juliet, south hangars now ready for taxi.
Sky 791 Juliet, roger, runway 29 right, taxi via hotel, correction, taxi via Alpha in Juliet.
29 right, taxi via Alpha and Juliet, Sky 791 Juliet.
Palm Springs Tower, scanning Papa Hotel Tango. Mike is holding short runway 31 right, Bravo, and ready for departure, close traffic.
Hey guys, happy Sunday. Good to see you all. Finish, good to see you as well here aboard. We're gonna do some other IFR training today, guys. It's not going to be that difficult. I'm going to practice a obstacle departure procedure that I have been practicing before at Bermuda Dunes, which was actually kind of nice, an obstacle departure procedure. And this time we're going to fly one at Borrego. And we're going to head over to Salton Sea, which is a gravel runway, so I can practice some soft field landings as well. Some nice, decent, basic, fundamental flying. And the Borrego departure procedure. Oh my gosh, my webcam is not at all good. I increased my resolution here, but as you can see, this is my wall next to it. Let me see if I can change that up right now. Bloop, 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 bloop. As if it is magic. Yeah, and I like to be a little bit on this side. Lock it up. I guess I will have to change it up also with my ending scene, but we'll get there in an hour or so. Thanks, Finish. Yeah, what we're going to do is currently at Borrego going to fly that obstacle departure procedure, but here at Borrego it's actually quite basic. So Borrego is here again near the Palm Springs area. And this is the procedure that I'm going to practice flying today. It's very, very basic. The only new thing, I guess, for me is it's, as you look at the different markings here, these are GPS located points. So this is an air nav departure procedure. That means that we need to set those into the GPS. We cannot use VOR radios or NDBs or any kind of the traditional alpha, slant alpha kind of beacons to get our way around this particular departure procedure. So that's interesting. I'm going to set those in the GPS, see if that all works. Also need to refresh my memory of how to actually use my own radio panel here to set the GPS, because I figured configure that stuff in Spotnik, so that's interesting and, well, good to rehearse once more. Hey Snipe, good to see you. Nice clear cam now. What did you change? I added a light, so just behind my screen, which I actually prefer, because usually also when I'm flying at night, usually my screen lights up my face, and that only works when I'm flying in daylight, obviously, because then there's some brightness from the screen. But I noticed with the agent, thanks for the follow. Welcome aboard. I noticed with night flying that usually you see me as one big dark shadow blob here, and I thought that's not really nice, so I put a light up there, and I think it's better. Also, I increased the resolution of my webcam, so it's better overall, I hope, at least. Also a bit cold, guys, my gosh. Winter is coming. Ancient Aviation, greetings from Canada. Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Pavage, good to see you as well from Sweden. Nice, guys. Thanks, Snipe. Yeah, I think it looks good as well. But because I changed up the resolution, then my scenes, I guess, need to be, or at least my webcam scene or layer there needs to be reconfigured, because the resolution changes up all of the settings. But hey, that's just part of it. The Eco, good to see you. Good to see you here aboard. So, yeah, we're going to fly this departure. It's going to be so basic, I guess, but it's fun. We're going to go all the way up to Zungu. That's why it's also called the Zungu 1 departure. And I believe I am correct to say that the Zungu 1, so the 1 bit of it, is just a version. So if it updates this particular departure procedure, they're going to call it the Zungu 2 departure. So the 1 has no actual practical sense or relates to anything of a runway or some kind of style of departure. It's just a version number, I believe. And I think it's also good also for my own memory just to go through this obstacle departure play just to make sure that I understand everything that's on it. Because there is a lot of information, as you can see. So I'm going to clean my nose here. And as you can see also in the notes, there just below at the bottom, GPS required, because it's an air nav. Procedure. Let me see. So on top again, Zungu, the Zungu 1 departure makes sense. Borrego Valley, that confirms. All kinds of other rubbish there in terms of what version, FAA related number or code, so we can look it up. I guess left up we can see the frequencies that we need, usually in the right order, and this means I would say that AWOS should actually be a little bit more on top, but I guess well, I don't know. I would expect it to see that on top. But obviously here, because we are at a non-towered airport, we need to sign in with approach, Tracon or center here to get our clearance as an IFR pilot. We're not going to fly IFR today. I'm not really trained for that just yet. I'm just trying to practice these procedures first. So, but that's why center is on top. Then CTAF to announce our departures. And then once we are at Zungu or whatever clearance we may receive, we switch over to center or departure and have a great time flying IFR. We also need AWAS for the weather, I guess. Slippy, good to see you. Looking forward for your flight again, Tim. Greetings from Germany. Well, welcome here aboard. Good to see you all, guys. Hoping you're having a great Sunday. I'm just going to do some casual flying here. Let me also put on some music because that really is something that I like. That button, I guess? Yes, that button. Okay, so that's frequency-wise. Now we see this particular. This is not the profile view, obviously, but what is it called? It's called the map view. It has an official name. Slipped my mind here. We see restricted areas, as you can see here, Kane West, that we will look for at the VFR sectional very soon, to have an idea of what the restriction might be. Again, it's a MOA, so we're completely illegal to fly into it, but there's operational or military operations going on there, most likely. Perhaps not always, but it means that you don't like to be there with your little Cessna Skyhawk when they are doing all kinds of fancy maneuvers. Plan view, thanks Finish. Plan view, it's called the plan view. Roger. Now we've got two options here, as you can see. Both runway departure procedures are mentioned. We've got runway 8 and runway 26, and those have slightly different, well, takeoff gradient minimums, which is actually, at least to me currently in my study, one of the most important things to look for. I guess also with a departure procedure in general, because some departure procedures might require you to climb up quite significantly to remain clear of obstacles or terrain, and it's not guaranteed that your particular aircraft, also considering your payload and all of your stuff with you on board, actually enables you to meet that minimum climb gradient. And it's usually depicted or described in terms of feet per nautical mile, because that's more aircraft general, I guess. Because if you do it feet per minute, that depends on how fast your airplane actually goes. So you need to have some universal way to describe how fast you need to climb. And that's why you also need to convert this particular climb gradient to your particular aircraft in terms of feet per minute. Now, the best thing to do here, that I also mentioned in the previous stream, was to look for your max climb gradient for your particular aircraft, considering your payload and all of that stuff, and that would be for the Cessna Skyhawk around 500 feet per nautical mile. So anything that is below there, any kind of measure that's below there, that would allow us to fly here as a single pilot here in my current Cessna Skyhawk 172. And as you can see, there are different climb gradients. For runway 8, it's a 335 feet per nautical mile, but runway 26 is much steeper, 465. We can still make that one, I guess, but it's important to see that, to spot that. And I guess that's why, considering Barigo here, if we're going to fly up to the left here, we're going to fly into some terrain. If we look here outside, you see that there's all kinds of terrain on that side. So that's why we need to climb up quite significantly, in contrast to that side where we just have some very easygoing hills. So it all makes sense. Yes, well, GPS required airnav takeoff do not exceed 220 K, I guess, knots until Zungu. Well, with our Cessna Skyhawk, that doesn't really, I guess, well, it applies to us, but it's not really a concern to us, but because we cannot climb with 220, it's not even a top speed that we can meet. So that's fine as well. The MOA I'd like to see just in case. Oops. Here's that MOA. Oh yeah, I've just for my own visual kind of idea of what's going on. Zungu is a airnav. It's a GPS reference point, and it's not mentioned here on the sectional. So what I did was changed up for the first time actually the IFR low low IFR chart, which does provide all of those airnavs. So here you can see and these are, again, this is a new world of reading IFR or just charts in general, which I cannot wait to delve into more. I'm already studying the the training videos by King Schools on how to read these charts. They look really cool. Yeah, I referenced Zungu here and then turned back to the VFR sectional to have an idea of where it is. Doesn't really matter that much, but because we're going to go to Salton Sea, I'd like to know, be able to switch to VFR flying, I guess, after Zungu. Peter, good to see you as well. Is the SimCoder Ready Pack worth it? I think it is. I'm currently flying with the Beta 2 version. I think it's the latest and will be the last beta version of the upcoming 3.2 version. And I think it's really worth it if you are a serious flight simmer, I guess. Just what degree of realism you're looking for in terms of flying your aircraft. And well, I like to be as realistic as possible, so I just love flying with SimCoders. Also with the additional interaction points with the walk around and stuff, I really like. They're also including many more sounds, 3D sounds as well, which is really nice. So yeah, that's also the reason why I teamed up with the SimCoders. So perhaps I'm a bit biased, but I would totally recommend getting into SimCoders here. I'm also trying to figure out with SimCoders a way to promo the new version and to make a video together and to feature all of the features of that pack. So still need to make some time to do that, but I think it's a really great product. And also what's actually the most important quality, I think, for any developer is just customer support, or the way that they are listening to us, or what kind of features we like, and they implement it quite rapidly. So as part of the beta team also, I know what they are up to, which is just great to see. So it's good spirit and it's good work, and well, combine those two and you've got a great product. So that's my definitely recommend it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get it today. Is the beta out yet, Tim? I don't know. I guess the beta is only accessible for the beta testers. So I'm flying constantly with the latest beta, so I can show you how what the next beta version looks like, and it has some very neat features as well. That's going to be available very soon. I think it's going to be released the next week or so, or perhaps even sooner. I don't know. So the newest version is on the org store. Well, the newest, but that will be the 3.1 version that's currently public, and the 3.2 version will be public or released also very soon. But it doesn't really matter if you now buy into SimCoders, you will get access to that new version also, and any other future upgrades. So I will show you guys. Anyways, so that's why I put this also into my VFR sectional chart here, so we can fly to Salton Sea and practice some soft field landings there, which I think is good to know. Also, guys, I posted it on my Discord as well, which is so wonderful and was actually there already for a couple of years. I found another YouTube channel of a guy who decided to video record his PPL flight lessons. I've been following Eric Gravel, or Gravel. I think that was the first YouTube channel that I looked for and subscribed to when I started my Uncertified Pilot channel. It was great to see, for me, the first time I saw that much content of someone who actually recorded all of his individual flight lessons, and I learned so much from it, and I also built my student checklist mostly on top of that, or based off of that video content. But I have found, yeah, and now's the question, what is the name of that channel? But I found another PPL student who recorded all of his flight lessons, or was still recording all of his flight lessons, which is just great content. A great instructor as well, a much greater instructor, I think, personally, than the instructor that Eric had at that time. Let me see. That would be, how do I see it? YouTube, help me. Yeah, it's Tommy. I don't see the full name here, which is not, yeah, here. Tommy Thomason. Tommy double M, Thomason, also with double S. And yeah, all of his private pilot lessons are, I think, there. I don't know if it's all there. I think the latest one is lesson 25, as I see here, which doesn't seem to me like the check ride also. But anyway, great instructor, and I found already many things that I thought, oh my gosh, that's great stuff that I should incorporate in my flight simming as well. So yeah, just a recommendation there. YouTube, great resource for aviation education. All right, getting on with the flight. So that's going to be our flight to Southern Sea, soft field practice, but also that obstacle departure procedure. In general, though, I think that those obstacle departure procedures are very, very basic to fly. Not at all that challenging, but as you know, I'm a little bit neurotic as it goes with training. I like to touch upon each and every individual skill or procedure or way of flying, at least here in the context of IFR flying, in an isolated way before I actually start doing the I ratings on PilotEdge. So that's why I'm taking my time, and I just love to learn, and really incrementally. Okay, so obstacle departure procedure, and here at Borrego, so what we're going to do is not fly the 08, but we're going to fly the 26 departure. So let's have a note. Let's read out the notes here. Runway 26, numerous trees beginning 1,000 feet. I guess 1,000 feet from there. What is there? Seems like a waypoint, but perhaps it's a acronym for something else. Who knows what there is referring to, guys? Do you? Anyways, this is just a note that, well, shows us, points our attention to some of the obstacles that we can expect when we are departing a particular, taking a particular departure route here. 400 feet left of the center line up to, okay, so we know that there are some obstacles there, but again, this particular departure procedure that is depicted here guarantees us to stay clear of any obstacles or terrain. So as long as we stick to that procedure, then we'll be just fine, and these obstacles are just a heads up, I guess. Departure end of runway, thanks Finish. Wonderful again to have you here aboard as a coach. Departure end of runway, thank you Severo. Thank you guys, you guys already know so much more than I do about IFR. Okay, end of runway. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, thanks. Noted. Alright, then the minimums we already looked at, so in terms of 2.6, hey, that's also, I'm making a mistake there, don't I? Let me see. 2.6. If we're gonna depart, and that's the runway that we are gonna pick, which is away from the mountains actually. I just noticed a mistake there. So runway 26. No, I'm not. I missed. Guys, I'm confusing myself. Yeah, 26, so then we're flying to the west and there are the mountains, so yeah, that means that we need to have that steeper climb gradient, and runway 08, that's the one that we're going to fly today, brings us over to the Salton Seaside. Yeah, we need a less steep gradient, got confused there, sorry. Yeah, so can we meet that climb gradient? Yes, we can, so that's checked as well. Then here the departure route description, so I think that all obstacle departure procedures always have a textual description. Some also include a plan view here, which is really, really nice. I guess mostly when those are a little bit more complex. This one is still quite basic, I guess, but it includes always a route description. So runway 8, climb direct to Sealop, as we can see on top there. Then via depicted route to Zungu. Yeah, very basic. So that means to Sealop, we're going to set that in the GPS zoom, and that's going to be a 11 nautical miles from Sealop to Ernouf, I guess. 076, we're just going to follow the GPS there, and then from Ernouf we're going to go to Zungu. Is there any altitude that we need to hit? Well, yes, minimums. We need to climb that particular gradient, or at least that gradient to 2000. Do not exceed, yeah, not until Zungu. Okay, so I guess we need to stick at 2000, and that might perhaps be the case because otherwise we fly into other IFR traffic that is going into Palm Springs on Victor 137 or something like that. I don't know, but to 2000. Okay, so 2000 is going to be our cruise here up to Zungu. Well, that's it. So it's a very basic obstacle departure procedure. Once more, I just like to tick off these individually, so that's why. Sunday, guys. Ha! Sunday flying. Good stuff. Okay. Let's get going. In the cockpit, got our pitot tube cover on, so let's remove that one first. And this, Peter and guys who were curious about the beta, as you can see now, we also got a probe, or we can probe the temperature of the pitot heat, which is part of the 3.2 version of SimCoders, which is really wonderful. Also, we got additional buttons here, so we can more quickly go to particular viewpoints associated with particular check flows. So rather than needing to go through all the different checkpoints, now you can go much more rapidly, quickly, easily to those viewpoints to turn off or turn on or enable particular features. Yeah, Peter, I think that's awesome as well. And again, based on what we were discussing in previous streams, so SimCoders is watching these videos and listening to what we'd like to see, and they are working on that, which is really great. Also based on what I suggested with the lights check as an initial check, it's here, so that's really nice. Okay, so that cover is removed. Wonderful. Let's first do a cold and dark check here. Parking brakes are set. Live vest, blah blah blah. Fire extinguisher, blah blah blah. Door is closed. ELT is set to auto. Flap lever is up and our flaps are up. Yes, they are. My lever side tech, everything is active. Ah, my trim was not set. There it is. Fuel tanks set to both. In. This stuff doesn't really matter yet. Circuit breakers are nicely tucked in. Everything is off. Switch panel is working too. Switch of the beacon is on. Perfect. Okay. Then I also like to check my controls. To the right, that one goes down. That one goes up. Down. And up. Up. Down. Up. Feels good. Trim tab. I see it moving. Rudders work as well. Wonderful. Okay, so that completes our cold and dark check. That's great. I also like to, and this has inspired me a bit, I guess, by watching that Tommy Thomason channel on YouTube with that instructor. It's just some subtleties, some details of how to perfect your flows. And I was watching and I thought, yeah, I'm doing my flight still too quickly, doing things off on top of my head, forgetting about checks, and flying. Learning to fly with a checklist is actually quite important. So that's why I also bought a actual checklist for the 172 SP, which is the version of the 172 that we're flying here in X-Plane. A great checklist, highly recommended. Let me see. It's hard to get actually. I thought at least. This one. By QRef. Nice laminated plastic, all kinds of emergency procedures. This is also the checklist that I used with Mrs. Uncertified a few streams ago, learning how to manage electrical fires and engine fires. All the checks are here. Also additional information. Really nice. I think I ordered it from Amazon UK, I think. Yeah. Highly recommended. Finish, are you planning to practice sits in IMC2? Yes, I think so as well. I guess just a day here. Yeah, I could do this one in IMC2, but I think it's going to be a VFR flight still. I'm going to go to Solent Sea. Perhaps I'm going to do that with the actual sits, I guess, finish. I think it's good practice as well. Mainly, I'm focused on doing all the departure procedures in winds calm conditions and with a crosswind component. But yeah, we're training for IFR flying in IMC, so perhaps I should by default also set it to IMC conditions. So that's a good one. I will. Dandy, thank you for the auto host. Much appreciated. Yeah, so I'm again, that Tommy Thomason YouTube channel inspired me to get back to my checks again and be more systematic about the things that I do. Even though it becomes quite repetitive flying, there's actually kind of part of a risk management kind of style that flying by the checklist is a good thing, and I need to incorporate that as well. Okay, so cold and dark check. So let me see. What did I do here? This is so cabin pre-flight. It's a little bit different than the student checklist that I made, which I don't really mind that much. I know what the idea is behind all the checks that I'm doing, which is that I guess that's the only trap or trick of flying with a checklist. Also initially, is that you just follow along these checks without actually knowing what you're doing, and why why that is the order of the particular items. And that's also why, in my case, designing or making my own student checklist, or just your own checklist, is such a great exercise to learn learn about the principles or the logic or reasoning behind the checks. But once that's something that you to some degree know about, then I guess it's good to just follow the checks. But I think also, and it also mentioned in the YouTube videos of actual PPL pilots that are flying with their instructors, that their instructors don't want their students just to get into a habit of just flipping particular switches and have no idea what they're actually doing and what checks they need to look for. So going a little bit beyond just a plain checklist, but knowing what you're actually doing, which is very, very important. PilotTube, uncover. We did airworthiness certificate registration and operation limitation placards and approved flight manual. This is documentation that should be there in the cockpit. And I've actually been such an aviation nerd that I've actually made my own airworthiness certificate and registration document and all of that stuff in Photoshop. I also think I made it available on the Discord if you're interested as a download with all the Photoshop files, so you can change up your own registration. And I think it's also cool to provide that or include that here in my cockpit, just to make sure that it's there, because it's a regular check that you need to do. Parking brakes are set, tach or hubs, so also interesting. So if we are hiring our particular Skyhawk, we need to look at our hours here, so we can compare that with the number at the end of our flight, so we know how much time we've actually been flying, and well, that's something that we need to log in our logbook as well. Control wheel lock removed, we don't have one here. Ignition switch off, that was off. Alt and batteries were... Oh, okay, so there's no cold and dark check here, I guess, here on the checklist. We immediately start with the systems check. Isn't there any cold and dark? I guess it's a little bit redundant. No, there isn't. Okay, so that's no, well, let's follow this one then. Ignition switch, oh, I've already checked that. Ignition switch is off. Avionics off, then batteries and alternator on. Well, I know that you should only turn on your batteries actually, because if you turn on your alternator as well at this moment, it actually drains the battery in the first charge. You don't need an alternator because the engine is not on, so you only need the batteries. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to turn on the batteries, and it's flipped here on my SciTech. Here the batteries on the left side on my SciTech panel, but virtually it's on the other side, so that's a bit confusing. Batteries are on. Fuel quantity check. We've got far too less here. 4 gallons in each tank. That's not good. In a balance, something like this. And again, after my season 2, once I completed or earned my I-11 rating, and I can call myself, I guess, a instrument rated virtual pilot, I will also start to fly on FS economy. And that means that I also take into account all the economics involved with flying an airplane, and then just refueling my airplane actually costs virtual money, and putting my airplane in a hangar and stuff. So I cannot wait to also include that as well. But all at its time. Let me see. Fuel quantity is checked. The low fuel annunciator is off. That's off. Okay, avionics cooling fan audible, avionics master off, is off, alternate static source is off, annunciator test switch is working and looks good, annunciator flashing, annunciator test switch we did, fuel selector valve on both, fuel shut off valve boost in, that's good, and flaps extend. Oh, that's the wrong switch. They go down, and they go down in sync. Good. We move on. Pitot heats on, and now we check. Oh, it's just an individual check. Okay, so now we go outside, and we see the pitot heat is now actually warming up. So we can touch it and know, it's actually working, which is great, and actually only really necessary when you're going to fly in IMC, when icing is actually a concern, I guess. So in our case with this VFR flight, it's not really a necessary test. But hey, turn it off again because it should not be turned on that long of a time when you're on the ground. It needs airflow to stay a little bit relatively cool. It can actually become so extremely hot, that pitot tube, because of the pitot heat, that it damages the thing. So that's not good. Exterior lights, check. So that's also interesting. If I just go back to the cockpit and I turn on all my lights, yeah, and I go to my walk around and then hit the lights check, and this is something that I'm not really pleased with just yet, so I'm hoping that they will change that before it goes public, this next version of SimCoders. Now that I clicked it, I've enabled a new checklist flow, but you, as a user, you don't get any feedback now that you actually enabled or changed something, so that's not really good. But now if we go next, we only check for the lights. So beacon lights, navigation light at the end is good. The wingtip here is working. Taxi lights and landing lights are on, and here as well, and that completes the light check, which is really, really nice. So we don't need to go through all the checks, we can just do a light check initially. Lights off, except for the beacon. Great, and then elevator, then the batteries go off again, and our elevator trim is set. Autopilot static source, that's interesting. Autopilot static source? Optional, or perhaps we don't have such a thing. I don't know what that is. I mean, we do have an alternate static air, but an autopilot static source. Do you guys know? Hey, Scotty, good to see you. Okay, so that completes. So what I'm noticing already is I'm now following the checklist, and I know what all the what the meaning is of all of those checks, but I don't feel a flow. And that's also something that the flight instructor was mentioning in the YouTube videos, and also something that I've developed through my own streams as well. What's actually a better use of the checklist, at least when you're more experienced, I guess, is to use the checklist as a after check. So do your flow, for example, in this case, your system checks, your inside cockpit checks. Do those according to your own flow. And with the flow, I mean not going through all places while you're doing your checks, but just start at a particular point and, well, design or develop a particular route to follow each individual item to make sure that it's set for that particular phase of flight, rather than just messing with the ignition switch, then the fuel pumps, and then check the fuel, and then go to the flaps, and then go here and there, because that's nothing. That is more prone to forgetting something. It's better just to think in circles, or, well, a particular route to follow. Do those checks, and then you grab the checklist to see if you didn't forget anything. And that's a better way of doing things. So what I just did is something that I will not do in the future. I will just do my own flow and then use the checklist to make sure that I didn't forget anything. Okay, great. Then that means that we're now ready to do the actual walk around. Yes, sorry, I need to go to this side. Pre-flight, I guess. Yes, so trim is set, everything is set here, that's good. Baggage door is closed. Elevators are working. Antennas are nicely secure. Rudders work as well. Dynon is removed. And actually we should also take a look here at all the hinges and stuff over there. LT antenna looks secure to me. Flaps. There's a wiggle there, and again we look at all the hinges and stuff if they are all secure. Looks good. Dynon is removed. Fuel 84 liters. Color is good, no water contamination. And again, that's something that I really like about A2A, that you need to spot that water contamination yourself, rather than just having a note here that says there is no water contamination. Still, these are not big things, and once you get the idea, it gets quite redundant quickly, I think. But hey. SeepTech, I find it much better to go item by item. Finish for airlines, for example, the list don't even contain all the items. Yeah, I guess so, Finish. I guess so. Okay. Chocks are removed. Tire is good, and again, you check the tires by opening, or you could check the tires you can just see if they are inflated or not just by looking at them. But there can also be another issue here with the tires where the actual rubber of the tire is displaced in relation to the inner metal thing that it's stuck around. For example, for a hard landing, which can really give a shock to the wheels, and it can mess up the tires in that sense. And they're still inflated, but it could indicate some damage. And you can check by opening this particular unit, and there's usually, I think with all the wheels, there's a marking on the metal and there's a marking on the rubber, and they should be aligned. And if they are not, then you know that there has been some kind of damage or shock to the wheels, which might indicate that there's something wrong with it. So that's why that thing is there. Not included here in SimCoders just yet. And again, that's also a limitation, I guess. The 172 here, SimCoders cannot add 3D model interactions here to the Cessna. They only can provide a layer on top of it based on their own programming. So yeah, they're just limited to what the 172 default here in X-Plane can do. Quantity color seems good enough. Oh yeah, that's something that I forgot. I need to write that down right away. I like SimCoders to also include the number of quarts, because now we don't have any idea. Okay, so it's 75% filled with oil, but I'd like to see quarts to know what we're actually doing here. So let me see, where is my notes? Quarts does ring a bell. Okay. Earthquake check. Exactly. Okay. Toggle removed. Yeah. Vents, filter, exhaust pipe if it's secure. Looks all good to me. Strut and stuff inflated. Looks good. No dents in the prop. Prop blades, good color. Pitot tube is clear. Stall lights all seem to be good, and we know that they are working. Ailerons are free. Flaps look good. Chocks are removed. Good tires, and there we are. Wonderful. Okay, and so I can go through the checks here. Baggage door antennas, control surfaces, trim, flap, ailerons we checked, tie down removed, main wheel, fuel tank sumps we did, quantity, fuel filler cap. Yeah, that's something that we cannot check here. So there are actually also accidents where people check the oil, for example, but don't really screw the cap of the oil securely on top of the thing, and so it is a little bit off, and it can, well, oil can get out of it, which is not good. That's also why I just love to. I'm also subscribed to the flight training magazine by AOPA, which is intended for real-world pilots. But there's so much information for student pilots to learn about what kind of failures or emergencies might happen, new systems that are introduced to the Skyhawk, flight instructors telling about stories of their students, and a lot of information there that you can almost directly apply to your flight sim. So if you're really serious about flight simming, especially when you're using flight sim in preparation of your actual PPL training, consider subscribing or subscribing to the flight training magazine. Highly recommended. Nose, oil, engine oil, air filter we checked, fuel level, tie downs, aileron flaps. Roger. Okay, before engine starts. So again, let's do it through my own flow here. We need to fasten our seatbelts. RE seatbelts, obviously here in the cockpit. Yeah, let's close the door. Great, let's brief once more. So we're going to do the Zungu obstacle departure procedure runway 8. So that's for you guys that direction. We're going to go to 2000. We're going to set those GPS points very, very soon. And from Zunga, we're going to go to the Salton Sea and practice some traffic patterns on a gravel runway. So we need to practice soft field landings and takeoffs, which is good to rehearse or refresh, I guess. Anything else? No, not really. Are you guys sitting comfortably? I hope you do. You are. That means that we can start. So parking brakes are set, fuel tanks are good, batteries are on. Let's prime the engine. Fuel pump on, fuel flow, 2, 3, cut off, fuel pump off. And again, this is a flow. I mean, we could now grab the checklist to see if we did the right thing, but this is actually one of those memory flows that you should just know by heart. That said, are we clear? No one is walking around. So to make sure that at the tail no one is walking or there's a hangar or anything like that, because we might blow dust and stuff into the hangar. I think we are ready to go. Clear prop. And there we are. 1200. Oil pressure is already in the green. Alternator on. Rise in the M meter. Lean for ground. Looks good. Stop RPM. Flaps up. And we can also set back to 1000 here and allow the engine to warm up. Avionics on. Transponders already set to mode C, 1200, that's good. And we can set some frequencies. Alright, already far ahead here. Let me see. Seat belts, we did brakes. Brakes test. Oh yeah, that's usually something that I do when we start taxiing. So I release the parking brakes, tap the brakes to see if they're actually working. Real world pilots do that as well. But you can also test the brakes even before that, because you need to feel some kind of a pressure, hydraulic pressure there on the brakes if you tap them. Well, here virtually I don't have any hydraulics here, it's just plain plastic. So that's a little bit of a silly check to do here, but okay. Circuit breakers, yeah, that's something that I should have checked before as a cold and dark check, but also before I start the engine, because I turn on the avionics and my systems, and then at that particular phase of my checks there could be some kind of a damage there happening that might pop out a particular circuit breaker. Avionics off I checked, and fuel selector I also checked. Okay, good. And then the start, beacon, fuel, pump, ignition, roger, advance, green within 30 seconds, ammeter, alternator, avionics, low volts. Oh yeah, that's something that I could have done as well. And it's hard to see here with the default 172 to have a look at the annunciator panel here to see if nothing is illuminated here, because there shouldn't be anything illuminated, and as you can see, that looks good. Finish. Remember to set a couple of VORs and navs as backup. Roger. Yeah, but still though, I'm flying RNAV or GPS reference points. So, well, what I can do is based on the VFR sectional, then I guess, is to get myself some kind of intersection going based on a VOR, 2 VORs. But that wouldn't be that precise, I guess. All right. That completes our startup. We not have a flooded engine. We didn't use external power. All included here in the checklist, which is really, really nice. And then the next up is the run-up checks. So, okay. GPS. On, self-tests. Alright, what are we going to set? Well, we're actually going to set a lot, because we are going to fly this particular RNAV, obstacle departure procedure. How did this work already? Let me see. I can switch my radio panel to, I think, my GPS mode. Totally forgot about what the buttons do. Let's have a look. Then we're currently at Borrego, as you can see. Makes sense. Flight plan, and here we can set stuff. Let me see. Yeah. What do I need to set? Well, I guess CLOP. And I guess I can just enter CLOP and it knows what I'm referring to. I don't know. Let's see. Can I? Yes. No. CLOP. C. Let's go the other way around. C-Lob. No, with a E. C-Lob, intersection, Southwest USA. Makes sense. We could also check that position, but I think we cannot, because it's not depicted here. Enter. Or did it just clear it? Press enter to accept. I think I just hit clear. Again, guys, not familiar with... Ah, damn it. Alright, another time. One more time, I mean. Click. then this one to get familiar with the... No, that's not what I wanted to do. Clear, clear, clear. Yeah, that's Barigo. Click here. Yeah. Alright guys, one more time. Seal up. With P. Yes, and then I need to hit enter. I think it's the top button there, but I don't know for sure. 2.6 nautical miles makes sense though. You can load the departure from the database. Oh, of course, finish. I guess also obstacle departure procedures. Okay, that's interesting. Good one. I totally forgot about that. That's why also these codes are on top there. Yeah, okay. So let's see how I should do that. I think I need to go to procedures. I'm gonna select a departure. No. I'm gonna go to procedures. I'm gonna go to departure. Enter. Yes. And I'm gonna need the Zungu. And then I'm gonna hit enter. And what runway? Well, 08. Enter. Boom. There it is. It's, yeah. Thank you. Finish. And then I say load. I guess so. Or we can zoom out to have an idea of whether this is the right one. Seal up. Airneuf. Zungu. Ha! Magic. Load. Yes. Boom. Ha! Yeah, that saves a lot of time. Obviously, we can just load the departure from our GPS. Stupid me. Oh, really? Finish is saying it's technically not permitted to enter waypoints manually on airnav sits. Yeah, I guess so. This is a much more safer way of doing things. Okay. So, that's a quick way. Wonderful. Then I can go to my... Yeah, how do I go back to my... I guess not... Do I need to keep pressing clear? What was it? Yeah, there we are. This is our departure. Yeah, that makes sense. And this is a solid sea. Wonderful. Okay. Okay. We set that. Frequency-wise, well, we need... I mean, radio frequencies. We need only the CTF. We're not flying VFR today. Let me first set the AWAS 126. 5, 7. 12657, that's set in the COM2, and my CTAF is 122.8. 122.8. Okay. Oh, sorry guys.
Warrego Valley weather. Wind light and variable. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 5. Dew point -2. Altimeter 3007.
3007 it is. Okay. And we see that we're on PilotEdge. Okay. Good. Alright, and then finish that. Well, ideally you would also like to have a backup. VFR is backup. Yeah, we've got airnav. So finish, how would you suggest of doing this then? I mean, Zungu. I mean, yeah, Zungu is on the Victor 137, so that must be a Vortec reference kind of airway, right? Which is, I guess, is going to be thermal. But AirNav and CLUP, those are GPS reference. So how can I use VOR as a backup here? Or is it just in case my GPS fails, so I can still know my way around to some Vortec and inform ATC and that stuff? I mean, I guess I cannot use VORs to infer where CLUP and AirNav is, right? Nav GPS switch to GPS. 2 random nearby VORs. I don't know what you're suggesting with that. So I can just use Julian or Thermal or Palm Springs VOR just as a backup in case my GPS fails and I know where I need to go to? Yeah, okay. Okay. Got you there. Yeah, so there's no way for me to use VOR radio navigation to still fly the departure procedure, but in case my GPS fails or whatever fails here, I still know my way around. But as a VFR pilot here, that will be just fine. Yeah, but always use the backup. Yeah, Finnish is very strong with is really emphasizing the fact that we should not solely primarily rely on our GPS, but always set VOR navigation or other navigation Vortec aids in our system here. So in case our GPS fails, we still know where we need to go to. Roger. Engine is already warm. That's good. We are ready to go, I think. Yeah, check this is here. 08. .08 is in sync, and again, feel everything looks good. Vacuum is low, but that's because we're on low RPM. Good. Okay, let's go. Parking brakes released. Brake test works. No traffic there. Keep your RPM around 900. Right, nice and steady. Taxi speed. Step indicator and turn indicator worked. Heading indicator as well. There goes that nasty Learjet that always gets in the way here. Now I wonder what way it will taxi to. Because it's a one-way street that we are going to taxi on, so let's see what it's doing. Yeah, it's coming our way. So let's do our run-up right here. Parking brakes are set, mixture full in. Again, well, there are some cars there, but hey, virtual. And let's go to 1800s. No non-shader messages. Everything is still stable. Good. Left mag. Good enough drop. Right one. Good enough drop and not a lot of difference there. That's perfect. I'm gonna go to idle. See if the engine doesn't quit on us. Again, no messages on the unshaded message panel there on top. Oil pressure still there. Wonderful. Okay. And the Learjet has gone. Okay, that's interesting. Brakes released. Let's go. Let's still lean a bit for the last taxi bit. Flying with real-world conditions. Short flight, so we don't include that weather briefing here in the forecast. We will when we're going to do our first IFR crosswind flight soon. Okay, so next up is CLOP. As you can see, what we could do is just fly nav, I think, on the autopilot, but I think it's nicer just to fly on the GPS itself, just manually. Here's the run-up area. Differential braking here. Windstock still indicates winds calm conditions. Oh, go a little bit further ahead here. Yeah. Mixture. Oh no, we did already a run-up. Flaps 10%. Trim is set. Landing lights on. Strobe lights on. Landing bug is set. CLOP. Let's zoom a little bit more in, so I can actually fly. Oh, there goes the Learjet. All right. I guess like so. Zoom even a little bit more in. I guess. Can I zoom further in? No, I guess not. Okay. Well, that it is then. 2,000 feet. Ready to go. Rico traffic, yellow Skyhawk departing runway 08 for the Zungu 1 departure up to 2000 over the Salton Sea. Puerto Rico. Here we go. Still some wake turbulence perhaps from the Learjet here on the runway. Again, what I also liked, the flight instructor emphasized in the in that Thomason video or YouTube channel. Also Jason Shepard emphasized on that. Is to use every last inch of the runway. You always want to use as much. Oh, no, that's not what I. You don't want to be short of runway. I should have turned it a little bit sooner. So now I could have just taxied as usual. But anyways, use the full runway there to in case of a rejected takeoff. It's important stuff. One thing that I'm noticing is that I'm now indicating 60 and we are runway 08 and here it should indicate 75. So our heading indicator, directional gyro, is not properly set. Something like this. Okay, and also our course, if we look at our plate here, it's going to be 076. So let's set our heading bug to 076 as well. Is there no nav GPS switch? How do you select air nav VSR? It's over here, finish. I can switch it over there. I can press CDI here and then it will indicate. So yeah, that's also a good one because now I can fly the needle as well. I was just planning to fly on the plan view here, but I guess that's not that precise because I cannot go any. Can I go further down? No. So this is actually a good one, yeah. Even though I'm not going to fly it on autopilot. Thanks. Then lights on. Let's go. Full power, right rudder. Engine still in the green. Airspeed is alive. 40, 50, and 60, rotates. Goes down a bit, get to VY first, trim down. And there we go. Now, let me see if I can catch that needle there. There it is. .076. There goes the Learjet. My gosh. Flaps up. Nose up there, Tim. Minimum climb gradient. And I think that's all because of that hill in front of us here that we don't want to hit. It's not permitted to fly without the needle. No, I guess so. Finish. Thanks. Thanks for the suggestions or the tips there. Yeah. Do you fly a real Cessna? VL asks. No, I'm not actually. I'm just primarily still flying in the flight sim. I have been flying in the real world though, more as just separate flight lessons to have a feel of what it is in the real world. To get that transfer going. But other than that, no. There's the virtual pilot, sim pilot first. Really enjoying myself here. There's 2000, nose down. Allow the airspeed to increase first. Trim already a bit. There's 100, set to around 2200 RPM. Again, trimming a bit. Not above 3000 feet MSL, so we just keep our mixture full rich. Engine is looking good. Landing lights off. And Borrego traffic, yellow sky is on the Zungu 1 departure. We're leaving the traffic pattern area to the east at 2000. Wonderful. Airnav requires either CDI or flight director. Roger that finish. Good one, thanks. Makes sense. But there was another thing that I was forgetting. No, forgetting or doing wrong. Oh yeah, so I cannot put in... Yeah, so if I'm flying also with an approach, but also with a departure procedure, I'm not legally allowed to put in those waypoints manually in the GPS, so I always need to load up the entire procedure. Makes sense. And it also saves a lot of time, so it's obvious, but I totally forgot. Good one. And the next one is, you also need to fly with that CDI or with the flight director. We don't have a flight director here. Or I guess, can you call the autopilot here in this Skyhawk a flight director? Don't know. But always fly with the CDI here. Makes sense as well. Nice, guys. It's funny that 40 souls on board and there are only 4 seats. Yeah, it's crowded, I guess, guys. Guess it's crowded here behind. Thanks, Rev, for the follow and happy Sunday. Welcome on board. Nicely trimmed. So what we're going to do is just fly the departure procedure to Zungu. That's the final fix, somewhere over the Salton Sea there. And then I'm going to turn around and head over to the Salton Sea Airport, non-towered airport, and with a gravel runway, where we can practice some soft field landings and takeoffs, which is important as well. Still nicely on track, and I guess if I change up this thing, it doesn't care at all. Yeah, it's just tracked towards this thing, which is nice. Yeah, this is quite basic actually, guys. And there we are. VL, what country do you fly? Thanks for the follow, VL. This is Southern California, and it's a wonderful area to fly, but primarily also necessary because I really love flying on PilotEdge, which is a online multiplayer network where you can fly with others, but also under guidance or governed by actual ATC controllers, like the real thing. And the service area of PilotEdge, or at least the main default PilotEdge coverage area, is Southern California, which is huge for small JA aircraft. You can also extend your subscriptions and also include Northern California and even some other parts and airports, which is really, really wonderful. They're really expanding there. So for airliner pilots, it's a great subscription as well. But that's also the main reason why I'm flying here in this area. So, and for that area I downloaded all the photoreal scenery. So I'm really digging my my setup here. The only thing though, I've already reached the limit of my hard disk space, 500 gigs, with additional airports and airplanes. So I just have 1 gigabyte left or so. So guys, perhaps it's a question for you. I guess it's possible, but I don't know how. Can I add an additional SSD hard drive or whatever hard drive to my computer, put all the custom scenery folder on that drive, but keep my X-Plane and Windows on the original drive, and still be able to expand on my setup without needing to buy an entire new hard drive, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and reinstall Windows and all of that stuff? So can I and explain? Yes, you should be able to, Captain. Thanks. Yes, VL says. Okay, wonderful. Do you guys have a link or something of a forum post of something that describes how I need to do that? Because I guess I need to tell X-Plane to look for the custom scenery on another drive. And I don't know how that works actually. Ah, Captain Wright. It's possible. Thanks. Well, it's great to hear that's possible. Now I need to know how. Switch in waypoints is coming up. So I need to focus. Ernuv is there. So, left turn, it's a left turn to 042. Okay, that's wonderful. Let's do it then. This is a flyby waypoint then. Let's see what the CDI is doing there. 042. Let's fly a little bit this direction to catch that needle. Oof. Switch to 2. Wonderful. This is really basic, guys. Wonderful. Flying the CDI here now. That's really easy. Great. Fly a little bit more inbound to that leg. Okay. Sniper. Yes, no problem. You can just add the drive and then reference the folders. Yeah, but how do you do that? You just change the ini file in the custom scenery folder. That sounds too simple. Does it? Is it that simple? Which sim aircraft are you? Echo, Echo, Echo asks. I'm a, I guess, 172? Skyhawk 172? Which is the sole airplane. Really in love with this basic student pilot airplane. That shortcut I need. With my own livery, the Papa Hotel Tango India Mike. Inspired by the Piper Cup philosophy, it's just a basic student pilot airplane. And if you're curious, hop over to UncertifiedPilot.com. Oh, I'm totally off track here. UncertifiedPilot.com for information about myself as a streamer, but also about all my previous streams and how about my setup, my flight sim setup and downloads and stuff. So it's my personal blog. Alright, let's catch this needle because as IFR pilots this is not good. Sniper, my version, you simply create shortcuts for the actual folders and then post the shortcuts into the standard X-Plane custom. That sounds really basic. Okay. From Microsoft package, from the default X-Plane package, Echo. So if you buy X-Plane, you get this particular aircraft. And I've installed on top of that a third-party add-on which is called SimCoder's Reality Extension Pack, specifically for the 172, which adds many more interaction points and flight realism to the flight performance of the aircraft, which I would hardly recommend. I'm not paying attention at all. Let's see if I know how to do this. Boom. It's just a matter of pressing nav, I guess, wasn't it? I think it is. A lazy solution, but it's good to know how to use the autopilot as well. It's been a long time since I used the autopilot, so... Thanks for the follow, YY December. Welcome on board. And there we are on track. Zungu is already there ahead. And we're going to turn around to the right here and head over to the Salton Sea Airport. And I think it should be just behind this road, something around there-ish. Gonna be fun. Left to 242 now. Well, I guess my autopilot is gonna do that. Oh no, 242. Yeah, I guess that's the missed approach procedure, or what is it? Or no, that's the flight to that's the turn to thermal. Victor 137. That's what it's going to do right now, I guess. Or not. seems to be a little bit too steep of a turn here. Or is it just going to return to the initial fix? Perhaps. I don't know. Either way, off. We are free to go. I do it for all my ortho scenery. Yes, Snipe, that's exactly my need as well. So I'm just going to put my ortho. So that sounds pretty basic, actually. So I just need to... Is that a plain old shortcut? So I just need to move my custom scenery folder to that next hard drive. And then just put a alias or shortcut folder in my default X-Plane folder. That's it. Then it should work. Alrighty, let's prep for Solvency. Zunga, Solvency 122.9. Switch 122.9 on the radio. Active. Roger. Where is the Salton Sea? Airport elevation is -84. Thanks for the subscription. GPP, thanks man. Thank you, really encouraging. Thanks. Subscriptions. Again, been enjoying yesterday's, I think yesterday's stream on thermal. Nice airport scenery there made by Greg, by GPP. And again, guys, if you are a PilotEdge flyer, and especially also flying on X-Plane, have a look at his scenery package. Top notch, Orbix, quality airports for X-Plane. Alright, so I was looking at the map. Salton Sea minus, yeah, so we can just pick 900 feet as a traffic pattern altitude, 1000 feet AGL, runway 7. Runway 7, and it should be near, or a little bit south of Salton Sea, so I guess this is Salton Sea City. So it should be somewhere around there. Perhaps it's this. Yes, I think it is. And it's right pattern 7. So let's cross it and make a loop. So 17. So that means the runway is going from this direction to that direction. It's right pattern, so it's going out that direction. The traffic flow, I mean. So that means I'm going to cross 07 and then make a left turn to enter the right downwind for 07. That's the idea. Landing lights on. That's at 1800 here. Salton Sea traffic, yellow Skyhawk is 3 miles north of the airport, inbound for a touch and go for runway 07. I'm going to overfly the field from the north to the south midfield. I'm going to enter the right downwind for runway 07 for close traffic, Salton Sea. Alright, going down. Making sure no other traffic is there, because I think there is AI traffic. Always enjoy the stream when I get time. Good to hear, Greg. Looking forward to your next airports. Is it true that you've been working on Big Bear as well? Because that would be an awesome addition. Or perhaps it's already there. I don't know by heart. I think it's not part of it, but... Coming in again, guys. Look with me. Do we see any other traffic? I don't see any. Getting to our traffic pattern altitude, and again soft field landing, so that means full flaps and elevating the nose, or putting as less pressure or weight onto the nose wheel, because my nose wheel might get stuck in the gravel or in all of that rough terrain, and that's not good. Alrighty, that's traffic pattern altitude, but I did something a bit wrong. Because I shouldn't be on traffic pattern altitude once I cross midfield, because now I'm at the altitude where others might fly. So it's better to be 500 feet above, which we cannot reach anymore, I guess. And only started descent to traffic pattern altitude beyond the midfield crossover. So that's not good procedure on my part here. Southern Sea traffic, yellow sky goes now midfield for crosswind 07. We're going to enter the right downwind for 07 with a teardrop entry. Southern Sea. So something like this. Crossing the field, already crossed the field. Now we descend. Thanks for the follow, Jungle. Welcome aboard. Happy Sunday, guys. Hope you're all having a great Sunday. I am. Nice casual flying here. Well, casual flying, we did learn some interesting things here. Flying a RNAV obstacle departure procedure, which was not very complex procedure, but I learned how to use the GPS and the CDI thanks to Finish. All right, let's make that turn right now. Are we already in flaps? Yeah, 10 degrees of flaps, okay. There's our traffic pattern altitude. Stay 80 plus. There's the runway. Trim up a bit. Wonderful. And that's our 40-degree entry for the downwind. And Salton Sea traffic, yellow sky goes now only 40-degree right downwind 07, touch and goes. Salton Sea. Trim up a bit. Again, stay at around 80, or 80 plus, I mean. Power. Sure, no one's on the right there, already on the right downwind. That's joining us here without using any radios. It's looking good. Nicely trimmed. Engine's looking good. Standing lights on. Mixture's full in. Parking brakes are released. Alrighty. There's the runway. Let's make our turn. And Salton Sea traffic, yellow sky goes now on the right downwind 07, touch and go, Salton Sea. Alrighty. Can already start our descent a bit. Runway is just on our right wing, yeah. Looks good. I like the music. Okay. Soft field landing, guys. Soft field landing. And Salton Sea traffic, yellow sky goes now turning right base 07, touch and go, Salton Sea. Down, keep that nose down.
500.
I know, darling. I know. Right rudder. And Salton Sea traffic, yellow sky goes now turning final runway 07.
Caution, terrain.
Or touch and
Caution,
goes.
terrain. Terrain. Pull up. Caution, terrain. Caution, terrain.
I'm on final. Alright. Full flaps. Still pulling on that yoke, so nose up trim. See some traffic there at the far end of the runway. Alright, so don't lower that nose too quickly. Slow down as much as you can on your main wheel stem. Nose up, nose up, nose up, nose up, nose up. And lower it down. But keep pulling on that yoke. Good. Also keep speed going here. Flaps up. There's other traffic there on the runway. Keep power in, don't stand still. It's hard to get moving again. And Salton Sea traffic, let's cargo is clear of the runway. Could have gone for a touch and go, but because of that other traffic. Come on. There we are. Now we are standing still. Get to 1,000. Landing lights off. Strobe lights off. Oh, traffic is gone. Alright. Well, let's continue then. Again. And Solid Sea traffic, Yellow Sky is back taxiing runway 07 for close traffic. Solid Sea. There we go. Again, pulling on that yoke. Lift up that nose as much as you can. Put on our landing lights also to make us as visible as possible. Also something that I noticed looking at those, watching those YouTube movies of that private pilot student pilot, was that turning on your landing lights and also your taxi lights actually during takeoff not only makes you more visible for other pilots, but it also scares off birds, which is also a nice argument to turn on those things. I guess with X-Plane that is not simulated, but I like those little things. Thanks, Finish. But let's practice a few more. Alright, landing lights are already on. Flaps. Need to look for a soft wheeled takeoff procedure actually. Keep it at 1,000. Parking brakes are set. Do I need to take off with 10 or 20 degrees of flaps? That's my question. Takeoff cruise. Takeoff normal, short field. I guess it's short field is the same as soft field. I guess so. Mixture, brakes, holds. I don't think that's the case with the soft field. You actually need to, you never need to stop like I'm doing right now. So always keep it going, because otherwise you get stuck into some hole with your nose wheel and you do not get out of it anymore. So I think you don't need to tap the brakes. You also need to not only push in the throttle that much that quickly when you're on gravel, because there could be stones and dust that you suck up with the propeller, and that might damage the propeller and also your airplane. So a slow advance of the throttle. Elevator slightly tail low. Roger. Climb speed 56. And flaps retract slowly. And I guess flap set has no specific setting. I think just 10 degrees of flaps would do. Yeah, Captain, I guess so. Yeah. Okay, let's have a try. There goes the other traffic. Which just disappeared and appeared again. November 172 SP. Okay, landing lights on, strobe lights on. Parking brakes released. Alright. And slowly advance the throttle, right rudder. Whoa. Nose up, nose up, nose up. Keep it there, slowly. Still on the ground, 40. We're already in the air, I guess. Ground effect. Already out of ground effect. Nose down. That was quick. And Solid Sea traffic. Yellow Skyhawk is on the upwind 07, close traffic, Solid Sea. Should have announced my departure before I actually gave full throttle there. It needs a little bit more practice. Alright, flaps up. Nose up. Great flying weather today here. And Salton Sea traffic, Yellow Sky is now turning right crosswind, 07, close traffic, Salton Sea. Traffic burn altitude, nose down. No one there on the right. And Salton Sea traffic, Yellow Sky is turning right downwind, 07, 4 touch and goes, Salton Sea. Nose down trim. In line with the runway, I guess. Yes, we are. Alright, so now a proper touch and go. Let's see how that goes on a soft field gravel runway. Finish. It's already easy with RNAV. Yes, so totally true. That's also why I liked to fly the obstacle departure procedure of Bermuda Dunes, which was a little bit more exciting, I guess. But it's good for me to know also how to use the GPS and the CDI here to fly those AirNav departures. Also with the instrument approach soon. Alright. Past midfield there. Reduce RPM. Let's set up for landing once more. Set one notch of flaps, totally forgot about that. And Salton Sea traffic, Yellow Sky is now turning right base, 07, touch and goes. Salton Sea. Good. Good. A notch of flaps. Less power, good. Trim up a
500.
bit. Salton Sea traffic, Yellow Sky is turning final, 07, touch and goes. Salton Sea. Okay, a bit more power there. A bit more nose up trim. Alright, good distance, nice. Can see some traffic there on the left side. We're going to ignore that this time around. Let's practice touch and goes on gravel as well. Field
Caution,
made.
terrain. Caution, terrain.
Full flaps. Nice and easy. Good. Alright, again, main wheels first. Keep that nose up, or at least keep your yoke fully aft. Nice, keep it up, 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 keep it up. Very nice. And now flaps up to 10. Give it full power again. Release just a tiny bit that yoke, because otherwise you cowboy like a cowboy. Already in the air, nose down. VY, VY, VY. 10 degrees of flaps, right? Yeah, my gosh. Nose down, VY. Down trim. It surprises me actually how quick that Skyhawk lifts off, actually rotates. My gosh. Alrighty. what shall we do? Let's just go for a straight out and pick some nice destination airports. Zungu is nice, but getting a little bit bored here. Let's go to some other other airport that we can go to. Zungu traffic, yellow sky is departing straight out 07, heading over to the Zungu. Zungu. Landing lights off. There we go. Go to thermal. Let's go to thermal. Let me see. Thermal is 123.0. Switch. And we also got AWAS or ASOS 118.32. Switch. Let's have a listen.
Jacqueline Cochran RGNL weather. Wind light and variable. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 5. Dew point -3. Altimeter 3007.
Sounds good. Sounds good. .2,000 feet. Engine is looking good. Let's see what runway we can pick. Cochrane. Yeah. We can pick runway 30. And 30 is also left traffic, but we can go for a straight in, which is never a good thing to do. Straight ins on non-towered airports always enter the pattern to make sure there's no other traffic there. Flying different directions and stuff, because there's no tower controller obviously that can guide you or knows what's going on. So what we could better do, I guess, is fly the 40 degree for runway 12. That's a right pattern. Oh, that's also interesting. We were flying the right pattern for runway 12 the other day, but I guess that's not really proper procedure. Because it's all left traffic, which is a bit weird, flying left traffic for runway 12 over the airport. So what we can also do is then left hand for runway 17. Oh, and not making circles here. So let's do that. Left hand 17. Okay. Past 3,000. We'll start to lean our engine a bit. We're flying west. So we should actually fly 4,500, which is a bit high, I guess, for our current flight. So let's change it to 3,000 minimum. Or maximum, I guess, altitude to fly before we need to stick to VFR altitudes. Now let's go down, landing lights are off, everything is set. DGT is nicely high up. Get the nose down a bit to 3,000. And there we go. 0 degrees outside, okay. And again, it's a little bit weird, and I think it's also not correct that we cannot see the annunciator panel from this viewpoint. It should be visible at all times. I think this dashboard thingy is not that big in the real Cessna Skyhawk. 17. 1617. Good. Are we still in sync? 32. 32. Correct. And here we can set our pressure altitude. It was also a nice learning experience last time. So we could set our current altitude, which should be 3. And we are currently at 0 degrees. I think it's on the 0, so this is not good set. Not set correctly. This is 3000. Because we're at 0 degrees, this would read our current, yeah, it's kind of like the same. True airspeed is also around 100 knots, a little bit more. Let's go down a bit more. What a view. Yeah, it is pretty, isn't it? Especially the textures finish. What's that? A ship. Okay. In the Salton Sea? One thing that we need to look out for here is we're gonna fly through some MTRs. VR1266 and where's the other one? VR1257. So aircraft flying below 1500 feet, AGL, high speed. And those are simulated here on PilotEdge. So we are now already crossing one, I guess, one MTR. So we might spot some formation flights here that we're clearly safely overflying, and also one over there. I think that MTR goes all the way up here north around Palm Springs. Again, that's also why it's so recommended to fly on fly following, so you get traffic alerts time. Still, everything looks good. Safer here to stick a little bit to the coast in case we got an engine out. We got some time to reach land. Oh yeah. We might already call up a thermal here. Let me see, how far away are we? Well, I guess around 50 nautical miles. That's great. No, I don't want to see the map. Oh. We're already set in COM 1. And we'd like to enter the left downwind 17. Now on the 40 degree. So we can fly towards this point here and then find our way to thermal. Can we already see thermal? I think it's over there. I have to see. Thermal traffic, Skyhawk, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike is 15 miles southeast of the airport, currently at 3000. We're gonna fly the 45 degree entry for the left downwind 17 for a full stop. Thermal. Directional gyro and heading indicator, or in the magnetic compass, are still in sync. Everything looks good. Do's already start our descent, I guess, a bit. Oh. Though I'd like to have some gliding distance in case we have trouble right now. I think I see thermal over there. Yes, there it is. Runway 12 over here, or 30 from this direction. Oh, and this is runway 17. So we're going to fly like this, enter 45 degree, downwind, and land. And airport elevation is minus 100 feet, so 900 feet MSL would be our Traffic pattern altitude. Let's listen to ASOS once more.
Cochrane RGNL weather. Wind light and variable. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 5.
Sounds good.
-3. Altimeter 3007.
Still the same. Coming in. And then in the next stream, I'm going to try out the another obstacle departure procedure. I think that I need to look for one that is not RNF based, but just basic VOR referenced. And the only one that I came across up to now was the one from Bermuda Dunes. But I've already flown that one, so I'd like to fly another one. So if you got a suggestion, guys, for a non-RNAV obstacle departure to fly, let me know, because that's going to happen in the next stream, and also with a significant crosswind component. And what I should also do is turn on IMC conditions, so no visibility, and then see if I can fly one. That's going to be exciting. And then the next thing that I can do is, I think, these standard departure procedures. Let me see. Getting closer to thermal here. Let me see. Uncertified pilot websites. Inbound. IFR. No, I just like to go to my instruments. The iPad, it doesn't work that great. Hello? Why doesn't that work? My little iPad. Is there another way to get there from another page? No. The mouse, it works just fine. And my private pilot, does that work? Oh, that one does work. And my instruments? Instrument rated course, thank you. Stage 1. And we already completed all of these flights. Instrument failure identification, really fun stuff here. Currently at stage 2. Need to go down a little bit more, less RPM. Basic GPS and autopilot flying we did. VOR and NDB radial flying DME arcs. I already checked off this one, the crosswind of the DME arc. Need to add that one. And obstacle departure procedure, we just did our winds calm one. So yeah, next up is going to be the crosswind variation on flying the obstacle departure procedures, and then we're going to go to standard departure procedures in the stars. And the standard departure procedures are usually not assigned to small GA 172 aircraft, so there will be virtually no opportunity there to fly one, I guess. Perhaps later in some future time when I'm going to fly the Affinity Grand Canyon has one. Well, I don't know if I've also installed the ortho of the Grand Canyon here on my computer. So I was looking for some downtown obstacle departure procedure, but perhaps there is none, and we need to fly the Bermuda Dunes one. Thermal traffic, Yellow Skyhawk is 5 miles southeast of the airport, currently at 1,300. We're going to enter the 45 right downwind, left downwind for runway 17, left downwind 17, thermal. Again, also aligned with 30 here, so have an eye out for any other traffic that might come our way or is on our tail. Again, Landing lights should have turned on already. Mixture should also already been full rich. That's already checked. Heading bug is checked. Parker brakes are released. Wonderful. All right. Here we go. That's our traffic pattern altitude, nose up, speed goes below 100. One notch of flaps, a little bit more RPM there. No other traffic as far as I can see, also not on our left wing. And also not on the left downwind. Yeah, finish. I know the Buminous one has a hold. Yeah, and I'm going to practice holds in the next stage of my training. And thermal traffic, Yellow Sky is entering the left downwind, 17 for a full stop thermal. Alrighty. Very nice airport. Again, the same airport that we were flying at yesterday. But now with the Skyhawk. Let's see what taxiway. See if we can catch this one. Got this exit towards the ramp. Everything is set. Also lower the RPM here. Get our descent already going. Looking good. And thermal traffic. Yellow Skyhawk is turning left base 17 full stop. Thermal. Right, speed is already in the white band. Another notch of flaps. Again, make sure no one is on final here. Nope.
$500.
I know. And thermal traffic, Yellow Sky is turning final 17 full stop. Well, it's going to be tough to get that first taxi exit there. Let's forward slip here as much as we can. One notch of flap. Not recommended to do. And remove that slip. Still a lot of energy. Still a lot of energy. Nose up, nose up, nose up, nose up, nose up, nose up. Perfect. Aerodynamic braking. Wonderful. And there we are at thermal. Right. And thermal traffic, Yellow Sky is clear 17, taxiing to parking. Thermal. Taxi speed, landing lights off, strobe lights off. Mixture, inch out. And there we are. Track that center line. Laps are up. Yeah, great. And 900 RPM. Roger. Nice landing. Thanks, Black. Thanks, Finish. Yeah, that landing stuff is really something that I well, practice makes perfect, I guess. So I really feel confident doing that. So it's not the actual practical flying skills anymore that really provide the challenge. It's more the intellectual stuff, especially now with IFR flying, doing multiple things at the same time. So, for example, flying a DME arc is not that difficult, but I guess also adding ATC and also step down descents and stuff, yeah, that's going to be a lot more challenging. Or holdings, and it's going to be the workload actually that's going to be the main challenge for me. And so it's very, very important that you have nailed that practical side of flying, so that is almost automatic or natural. Same goes with instrument flying. Also spend many streams on perfecting my instrument flying, and still there's much to learn, but the basics are there, and it's not really that natural, but I'm really familiar with learning how or flying all my instruments. And so in case I need to do emergencies or other unexpected stuff, I have some well, additional cognitive load, I guess, to use to make a safe landing or arrival. Haley, love the streams. Do you see yourself working up airlines one day or enjoy GA? Thanks, Haley. Well, I'm looking for using X-Plane to prepare for my actual PPL flight training someday. Still a long way to go, even though I already completed the CAT ratings here on PilotEdge. But yeah, that's kind of like my aim. But I have to see. It's in the Netherlands. It's so expensive to get your PPL. So yeah, that's one limitation. But I would love to learn how to fly for real. Thank you, Snipe. Thank you for the encouragements. Ooh, this is going to be a tight, even an impossible one. I think I break my wings now. Would have gone the other way around. Yeah, where are we going to park? Love this ramp. It's so cozy. Let's put it here in front of the here, somewhere around here. Okay, 1,000 parker brake sets, avionics off first, cut off. Blup 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 blup, and there we are. Magnetos off, batteries off. Prevent cross-feeding here. Door open. You can go outside. Thanks for the follow, Ellie. Thanks. Post flights. Pitot tube cover. Tie down. Tie down. Tie down. I don't know if there are even tie down spots here. I don't think so, but let's just use those. We should have already unfastened our belts here, which we did. And yeah, that completes our flight. Wonderful flight, guys. Finish. I challenge you to work your way up to the 737. Yeah, well, I guess eventually I would like to fly also a multi-engine and stuff. But again, what I'm most excited about is just flying basic slant alpha kind of flights. It's so much more engaging, and it doesn't mean also that you cannot fly slant alpha with a multi-engine or with a 737 even. But I just like the scale, small scale kind of things with flying the Skyhawk. But I have it on my roadmap somewhere to transcend to the more bigger airplanes one day, and I cannot wait to get there. But just incrementally, step by step, I'd like to practice all of those procedures and skills in a more isolated manner and build my way up to becoming a proper 737 pilot. That's the idea. Tim Air. Yeah. Thanks, Haley, for the good luck wishes. Okay, so we're at thermal. Let's have a look at the landings, or the one landing at least. PilotEdge. Disconnect.
Disconnected.
Also my, yeah, those landings at the Salton Sea. Guess this was our initial approach. Oh, yep. Let's remove those as well. Oh, that cannot be done, yeah. I had that also in the previous stream. This is a little bit silly, but I guess for review purposes, it would just work fine. Here we go down. Thanks, Finish. Alright, here we go. So, main wheels first. Main wheels first, main wheels first. Yeah, nose up, nice. You can see the struts. It's being relieved from pressure as much as I can. And now I'm gradually sinking onto the gravel, and so you just need to keep running, keep taxiing there, and don't get stuck in the ground. But there was traffic at that time here on the runway. You can see my elevators are up. Blah 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 blah. We waited there for traffic, and then we went on again, I think. Yeah. Come on. Ah, GBB, well, have a great day. Thank you for dropping by, and thanks for the resubscription, Greg. Much appreciated. Oh, that was a bit too quick for me. Let me see. A little bit more early. I mean, that was a very short run. Control P. All the way from there. Yeah, it was actually kind of okay. It's not too short, and I was good at pushing down my nose to get to VY first. I mean, that's the danger when you just keep your yoke aft to get that nose wheel off the ground as quickly as possible, but you don't want to lift off prematurely and stall into the runway again. So that's why as soon as you got some lift going, to stay in that ground effect and speed up and then catch up on that initial climb. Yes. Shift 4. Thermal. All of the energy out, 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 out. Full flaps. Nice, nice. Tail down. Oh, oh, beauty. That was a beauty. Have a gorgeous. That's nice. Silly though with the tie downs, but yeah. Oof. I don't know why it does that, but apparently it does. And this also means that I guess we don't need tie down spots because we have these blocks, I guess, that we carry in our aircraft. I guess not. They are there, I presume. Anyways, we're nicely tucked in here. Great. Guys, that completes our flight for today. We did some really nice RNAV obstacle departure procedure. Again, part as one of my stages of flight training. I'm going to do one more, but then with a significant crosswind component, and I'd like to fly a non-RNAV one. So I guess I'm going to stick with Bermuda Dunes, and to do that one also in full IMC conditions, because hey, I'm practicing to become an IFR rated pilot, so it's important to also fly in IMC, right, and get familiar with that. Well, I've already done that for for many times, but also flying a procedure, instrument procedure there is relevant. So that's what I'm going to do next. Don't know when, perhaps tomorrow. Also, finish, thank you for your tips and suggestions for today. Really means a lot. I learned that you are not legally allowed to set in manually your own waypoints, at least not as part of a procedure. So always load up the entire procedure, which is also much more efficient. Thanks. And also to always fly with the CDI or with a flight director the particular procedure based on your GPS. So you cannot just fly visually, look at your GPS, and just manually fly over the track, but always use at least the CDI and or the flight director. So that's wonderful. Black and Music, thanks and take care. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here aboard. Thanks. And well, Finish, that's the way how I improve. So I really like you aboard here and sharing all of that knowledge and wisdom just in time. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Also, guys, thank you for the follows and thank you for being here, joining me on this particular. Oh, here you can see that webcam again. Yeah, let me fix it right now. Down. And like so. And like this. That's much better. Okay, so guys, thank you again for joining in on today's flight. Really enjoyed myself. Hoping you have a great Sunday. And as always, happy flights and blue skies. See you very soon.
Palm Springs Tower, Skyline Hotel Tango India Mike is 10 miles north of the airport at 3000 with information X-ray inbound for a full stop, landing 13 left if that's available.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Palm Springs altimeter is 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, you're requesting straight in for 13.
That's available, yes please.
Remember, correctly, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance, Pilots 4658 is type, PC 12 land call, request clearance to Vegas S filed.
Pilots 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S-file, and will be full route standby. Pilots 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas airport via Flight Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs, Victor 370 to 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso, join the Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000. Expect flight level 2, 405 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Pilots 4658 is cleared to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3, initially climb 7,000, expected cruiser after 5, departure 166, squawk 6316, Pilots 465.
Pilots 4658, readback is correct. Tango India Mike, taxi to Ram via Adler language frequency.
Taxiing to the ramp via Echo, remaining on this frequency, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike.
Ontario Tower, Cessna 237 Charlie Alpha, approximately 4 miles to the west, inbound to land.
Number 237 Charlie Alpha, roger, inner left traffic, left downwind runway 26 left, report base.
Enter left downwind for 26 left and report your base 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower United 242 on the visual for 20 right, will be turning for a right base shortly.
United 242 John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170 and 13.
Clear to land, 20 right, United 242.
Hollywood Tower, Kilo 220, Kilo ILS 524.
Here 520 Yankee Kilo Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 11. Number 237 Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land, 7 Charlie Alpha, thank you.
Palm Springs route, Pilots 4658 east trend, to weather, going for taxi.
Pilots 4658.